This is Margaret here, Bernie Mullins' mother. I just want to clarify a few things that was said to my child yesterday and what happened yesterday. And I don't give two cunts who believes it or not. My two small children was in the park, Chloe and Martin, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, playing with John Oloughlin, the T-Rex, his two children, another 5 or 6-year-old, I don't know what age the children are, all babies, every one of them, the 4 of them. They play together every day in the park. But my two small ones and John Oloughlин's two small ones had some small little bit of a dispute. Don't know what it was over. I don't pass heat to children fighting. My son Bernie was out on the road with 4 or 5 young fellas. And when he saw the children fighting in the park, he went over and told them to stop the fighting, and he ran my two children up to the house to me. In the meantime, John Oloughlин's two children must have gone down to him. When my children came to me, I put them into the house. I got back into my car then because I was going off into town. When I went down the road, this was about 5 minutes after this, the children was gone back into the house. I went down the road in my car when my son Bernie pulled me in the middle of the road. There was 4 or 5 young fellas with him, all his little friends that he was out playing football with. Mommy said, John Oloughlin has to pull on me and ruin the face off me. I asked him what he said, and the very words that John Oloughlin said to my child was, he said, do you know, he said, I'm the top fighting man in Ennis. And you don't want to go down that road with me. And I'll get a 16-year-old for to beat you. I have a 16-year-old to beat you. And you don't want to go down that road with me. And my child said to him, I'll go down any road I want to go down. So John Oloughlin turned around into my 12-year-old and said, have you got a man to take up for you? When my child's reply was, yeah, I do, he said. John Oloughlin started to get loud and roar to my child's face and say, I'm the top fighting man in Ennis. You don't want to go down that road with me. And you go and get a man for me and I'd kill you, threatening to kill my child. That's the very words that was said to my 12-year-old. And I don't give, like I already said a while ago, 2 fucks who believes or who don't believe what was said to my child. When I heard that, I went straight to John Oloughlин's house. Because if Kelly was a woman, she would have come to me and ringing me, because she rings my phone every other time now looking for her young one to be up in my house. She could have ringing me and saying, Margaret, my 2 children was fighting with your 2 small children today. But no, what she do? Send the knickers of her husband that she had up the road to try to bully a 12-year-old young fella. I went to Kelly's house and I tore her out through her front door and with nothing, only my bare hands. And I'm sure she'll have it on CCTV because her house is like Fort Knox down there. With nothing, only my bare hands, I left her a hospital case. A hospital case. 2 ambulances had to come out and tear her out of her house. A hospital case I left her. And that's nothing until I see her again. And every time I see her, she will get the same beating that she got outside that house. Outside of her own front door. And if John Oloughlin or anyone, any member of his family thinks that they'll come to any of my children or try to bully or threaten my children just because my children are Monginses living in Cloughley and they don't like the fact that my children is Monginses living in Cloughley, she will get bet. I will beat her every time that one of my children's approached. I will beat her, no matter where it is. If it's outside the school, outside the doctor's, in a shop, where she's seen, she will get bet. Simple as that. So she may go now and put control into her little handicapped husband that she has. For to come up, and never mind sending him up, she wouldn't come up to me half as good, only sent him up to a 12-year-old child. Well, I wasn't paying her anyway. And neither men or women will be getting fair play. Simple as that. John Oloughlin did, and his little retarded brother came up to my house, which is all on CCTV as well. He sent up James first, a retarded boy, to break the windows. James threw a rock through the window. He didn't do a good enough job. When he knew I wasn't there, I was gone off all evening. I wasn't in the house. He went down through a rock through my house, through the window of the house. It was all seen. All the neighbours has recorded. Everyone seen it. They waited for about an hour. and came back up then with machetes and broke the rest of the windows and the front door himself, James and John Oloughlin. So do ye think for 1 minute that either men or women of ye will be getting fair play? Matter when it is, you'll be getting bet. Every time we see ye, we will be beating ye. Simple as that. Every time ye are seen, ye will be getting bet. Men and women. Simple as that. Now go on, fuck off and kiss my arse.